Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Part 2 is moments away.
We've counted down to the new year. But the time for celebrating is long gone. Now it's time to work. We're keeping score, tallying up the wins, climbing up the rankings. It's a numbers game. This is when it really counts. 2011 Conference Tip-Off starts now.
And welcome to the SEC on ESPN. Welcome back to Thompson-Boling Arena one more time. Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV, a part of Conference Tip-Off. As recently, guys said, another huge crowd, 18,000, 19,000, something like that, to see the women's game tonight as the Tennessee Lady Vols take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Hi again, everybody. Dan Shulman and Doris Burke. Glad you're with us again tonight. Vanderbilt is good. No mistake about that. But Tennessee, as you said earlier, Doris, they're playing as well, maybe as anybody in the country right now.
Let's be realistic. There's probably 6 teams at most that can win a national championship in women's college basketball this year. Tennessee is one of those. In the 4 SEC games they've played, they've held their opponent to 50 points on 25% shooting. Extraordinary numbers.
Let's check out the Star Watch right now. And if Vanderbilt is to have a chance in this game, their best player is going to have to be great. Their coach describes Jency Rhodes as the engine of this team.
She can play 4 positions on the floor. She's not a tremendous three-point shooter, but she does just about everything else for this basketball team. And if toughness was an issue in the last 2 early bow-outs of the NCAA tournament for the Lady Vols, Megan Simmons can help that cause. She is a speed guard with scoring ability. She's been sensational out of the gates.
A look at the starting lineups right now. We begin with the Vanderbilt, 12-5 on the season, 3-1 in the SEC. Jasmine Lister, Gabby Smith in the backcourt. Hannah Twomey gives up some size to the people she's going to be playing against for Tennessee, but she is an awfully tough competitor. For Tennessee, 16-2, just blowing people out in the SEC. Angie Bjorklund is Tennessee's all-time leader in three-pointers, and Shakina Strickland is somebody that Pat Summitt says, hey, you should be an All-American. Start playing like it. Pat Summitt, of course, has accomplished, well, as much as just about anybody. Over 1,000 wins, 8 national championships, 18 Final Fours. And it looks like, Doris, after the last couple of years when they lost in the first round of the tournament, then lost in the Sweet 16 last year, it looks like Coach Summitt might have the kind of team that could go really deep this year.
You know, a year ago, I didn't think they were a very structured basketball team. By that, I mean players in traditional positions. This year, they seem to know what they want offensively, particularly in the last 7 games.
Scott Yarbrough, Denise Brooks, Mark Zentz are officials here tonight at an early Tennessee turnover. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee a couple of years ago, but that was in Nashville. They're 0-25 all-time in Knoxville. Gabby Smith off to Twomey and a travel. Vanderbilt's head coach, Melanie Balcom, is 1-18 all-time against Pat Summitt. She's obviously doing very well against everybody else because she's winning 73% of her games. And she has had tremendous success at Vandy. This is her 9th season. She's taken her club to the NCAA tournament each and every year.
She's one of the outstanding offensive coaches in the country.
And a Jersey girl, like you, right?
Yes, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Her father actually was an assistant coach to Pete Carrill, so you will see some Princeton-type offense from Vanderbilt throughout the course of this game. She was also at Providence soon after Rick Pitino was there, so this is a team that wants to get out and transition.
Scoreless in the early going. Both teams struggling to get into any kind of a flow offensively, and everybody's standing here at Thompson-Boling waiting for the first basket from the Lady Vols.
You can see just by the size of what Tennessee has inside, it is going to be a major challenge for Vanderbilt containing the post play of the Lady Vols.
And the point guard for Vanderbilt with the ball right now is just 5'4". Jasmine Lister, a freshman out of Corona, California. This is Rhodes, who Coach Balcom says plays 1, 2, 3, and if we're playing zone offense, 4 and 5 as well. There's a little bit of everything. Offensive rebound, and it's Tennessee ball. Got a Vandy foul.
This is a young Vanderbilt team, and they've had some things happen to them through the course of the season. Stephanie Holzer, who missed last season with an injury, also is dealing with a stress fracture in her back this season, so that has limited some of their interior play. And you can see Twomey working so hard against Kelly Kane.
She's 6'1". Kelly Kane is 6'6", and Twomey just slid across the lane and took a charge. Great defense there by Hannah Twomey.
Now, their rotations have got to be outstanding. And one thing you know about a Melanie Balkan coach team, their rotations will be solid. Great job recognizing that Strickland got a step on her player, and you step over and give some assistance.
Twomey, nice backdoor cut, and the layup by Lister gives Vandy the early lead.
See what I mean about the Princeton offense? You clear the backside, you set the back cut up, and it's beautifully done by Vanderbilt.
Simmons, and she knocks down the three. One of the best freshmen in America and easily the leading scorer on this Tennessee team.
You know what, Dan? Pat Summitt was joking in an interview with me earlier today that she hasn't met a shot she doesn't like. But she'll live with some of those, Dan, because she makes a ton of them, and she sets a tone for this team, a fearless, tough tone.
She is the point guard, but not really her natural position, right?
More of a natural, too. You'll see Kamiko Williams come off the bench and play that point guard position. She's more of a natural one.
Jordan Coleman looking for help. Shot clock at 3. Rhodes sees it, launches, and the rebound down to Kelly Kane, 6 foot 6 inch redshirt junior out of Atlanta. Twomey the rebound for Vandy. One thing Tennessee discussed a lot as the crowd wanted to walk. There's a block by Kane. Is Vandy's going to go. Every time they get the ball, they're going to go as quickly as they can. Tennessee wants to make Vandy play half-court offense. They don't want to let them score in transition.
Well, you can see the size differential. So it'd be hard for them to score and execute in a half-court because they're going to have to space the floor and depend on jump shooting. If you can get in transition, that's where your easy opportunities are.
Twomey called for the foul, her first. They can ill afford to get her in foul trouble, although, as you mentioned, we'll see Stephanie Holzer, a 6'4" redshirt freshman as well. But Twomey's such a battler on the inside. Yorkland, nice kick. Spaney misses the corner jumper. Loose ball rebound comes down to Vandy.
So if you're Vandy, that's exactly the kind of possession you want. Give up perimeter jump shots on ball reversal. They try to contest with a hand up when that ball swings to the other side. But hey, listen, you don't want to give up layups, Dan. You'd rather, give up those long jump shots.
Vandy trying to run a lot of their offense through Twomey. Comes out to the high post. She's already made one great backdoor feed. She sets the screen, frees up Rhodes, who knocks it down.
Yeah, this is a team who understands where the most shot opportunities should come from, and Rhodes is one of those. And you've got to be a skilled 4 to play for Melanie Balkan.
And there's another Vandy foul, this one on Jordan Coleman. They're having trouble dealing with the size of Kelly Kane on the inside. And here comes Holzer in for Coleman. So Holzer at 6'4" has battled a lot of injuries in her time in Nashville. A stress fracture in her ankle cost her all of last year. A stress fracture in her back cost her 4 games earlier this year.
She's their equalizer. She's the one body who can match up a bit with Kane.
Smith to the open Lister, whose high arcing 3 won't go, and the rebound to Strickland. Shakina Strickland. Very talented players. So many different weapons for Pat Summitt. So many players in double figures. Simmons the miss, and Tennessee cold in the early going. Lister pulls up and misses the 15-footer. Offensive rebound, though, for Holzer. Smith for 3. Boy, Vandy getting some good looks, getting some offensive rebound scores, just not taking advantage.
Yeah, I think if you're Pat Summitt, you're a little bit frustrated because they should never get beat off the backboards by a Vanderbilt team.
Kane tries to save, but he can't. It'll be Vandy ball when we come back. Like the men's game earlier today, teams struggling to score in the opening minutes.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. And in part by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Back here in Knoxville, Dan Shulman to Doris Burke, and to Coach Pat Summitt, not happy with her team after the opening 4 minutes and 50 seconds. They are not playing very well. They're missing open shots and just not showing enough energy, enough intensity for her liking. And she's intensity personified.
Well, exactly. This has nothing to do with their 1-for-8 start from the field. I mean, obviously you're concerned about the quality of shots, but when you're getting beat off the backboards, they've given up 3 offensive rebounds. They've got an 8-6 deficit on the glass, and it's as much about effort as anything. Vanderbilt's working harder, going after missed opportunities, and now Pat trying to get their mind in it by extending pressure.
As we mentioned last year, Vandy played Tennessee tough in this building. They beat them in their building 2 years ago. Is there any intimidation factor at all for the Commodores when they come in here and play the Lady Vols?
Pat, I don't think there's any question, because Melanie Balkov said exactly that. Now you work in the inside game with your advantages. Melanie Balkov said, listen, we've always played them tough. She goes, I believe for my players, it's as much mental as physical. Nice drive by Rose. Dan, it's as much mental as it is physical. When you're in a possession ball game, if you're Vanderbilt and Melanie Balkov, you've got to believe that regardless of that Tennessee across the jersey, you can beat them, whether on your floor in Nashville or here in Knoxville.
The last 2 times they've played them here, they've lost in single digits, so they have more than held their own. As Rhodes knocks it down. Now Tennessee is 4-0 right now in the SEC. They had a tough game with LSU. They won by 8. Yet, overall, in their 4 games in the SEC, they're outscoring opponents by 39 points per game. So that gives you an idea what they did in their last 3 games, including a blowout at Florida just a couple of days ago. Strickland knocks down the jumper. And you think it all turned after that loss to Baylor a few weeks back, right?
They felt like they were intimidated away from home. And I tell you what, Waco is a tough place to play against the most unique force in women's college basketball. But when you get out toughed as a head coach, nothing annoys you more. So there's talk around Knoxville that Pat Summitt has gone back to the Pat Summitt of '97. In People's Grill, if you're not playing hard in every possession in practice, you are, quote, on the line. You're running for a lack of effort.
Lori Johnson gets a huge ovation as she checks into the game. 6'3" junior from right here in Knoxville. She's become the 6th man for this team in the last couple of weeks. And as soon as Coach Summitt took her out of the starting lineup, she won SEC Player of the Week. She's become the leading scorer on this team. Still getting a lot of minutes, just playing great off the bench. It rolls off the rim for as Johnson gets involved right off the bat. By the way, that last foul on Vandy was on Hannah Twomey, her 2nd. She's gone to the bench, and that's a big early loss for the Commodores.
Well, and you mentioned Glory Johnson. She is an athletic 4. So now you've got her and Shakina Strickland on the floor together, and that presents some problems because you're athletically challenged on the interior if you're Vanderbilt.
Angela Palaio, Christina Fogarty, and Tiffany Clark have all checked into the game now for Vandy. Nice move inside by Johnson, but she misses again. Well, Tennessee's getting shots they're going to knock down 9 times out of 10, but they haven't so far tonight.
The Vanderbilt will test your discipline defensively, because if they don't get an easy shot in transition, they're going to run through to their 3rd, 4th, and sometimes 5th looks offensively.
Going inside to Holzer. She can score into bunches. Misses there. Out of bounds, though. Off Strickland back to Vandy. Strickland's not buying that call.
Well, we get a chance for a second look, and you can see it looks like a good call off her foot. Strickland just trying to do a bit of officiating, Dan.
Missed 3 from the corner by Palaio. There's some ugly shooting in the early going, Doris. Both teams right now are 2 for 12.
Reminds you of the men's game this morning. Neither team could get off the schneid early. It took some time to heat up.
Tennessee finally got going, overcame a 17-point first-half deficit, rallied back and beat Vandy 67-64. Here tied at 5, 7 minutes in, very much like the men's game this morning. Simmons. Vandy doing a pretty good job keeping the Lady Vols off the offensive glass. Holzer inside. She misses. Numbers now for Tennessee, 3-on-2. And the pull-up from the foul line is good for Bjorkgren.
Well, defensive player, along with that junior class and senior class, they have underperformed in the postseason. They've had enough talent to advance to Final Fours and haven't. And Bjorklund has got to show some leadership, in particular in games like this. You're struggling, take command of the offense.
There are 3 players on this Tennessee team who won a national championship. We were part of that team back in 2008. But for most of the players right now in the Lady Vols, they have not experienced the kind of success that their predecessors did. Puleo with the shot clock running down. Misses the 3, and back come the Vols. Wide open Simmons. Can't buy one. Got it back. Look at the hustle and the speed. Timeout, Vandy.
Well, Angie Bjorklund is the all-time leader in three-point shots here at Tennessee. This is a team that struggled to score it, so in transition, nobody stops the basketball. But this is what Megan Simmons gives you, somebody who will not give up on a play. She misses her shot opportunity on the first trip, but goes after it on the second.
ESPN, the home court of college hoops on a Martin Luther King Day on a Monday. A great quadruple header of college basketball action. 2 Big East games, 2 Big 12 games. 7 of the 8 teams are ranked. Just some great matchups coming your way from all across the country Monday day and evening. Big Monday presented by Bud Light. Kansas surviving today, still undefeated. They had a close call. It'll be interesting to see if Chris Joseph is healthy enough to play in Pittsburgh after he left today's game. Fell awkwardly, banged the back of his head on the court. Such an important player for the Orange.
Well, I'll tell you what, that 2-3 zone is so long in athletics. Amazing how far out they extend. I know you and Jay have that basketball game. I would pay to be there. Forget about paying me. I'll go.
Rhodes, nice handoff, but Holzer couldn't handle it. Numbers again for Tennessee. And Bjorklund knocks it down. Tennessee on a 9-0 run after that sluggish start.
When you're struggling, you look to your most experienced players, those upperclassmen, and Bjorklund has responded.
Lister. She's had some open looks from that spot. Hasn't been able to knock him down yet. Good hustle getting back there by Tiffany Clark to deflect it away and take us to a timeout.
Now, if you're Vanderbilt, you are undersized in this one, so you've got to play a near perfect game. Not enough space in there to make that pass. Turnover leads to transition opportunities, and Bjorklund gives the Vols a cushion.
This is MLK Weekend in Memphis, Tennessee. As you know, the location of the Lorraine Motel, the site where Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. The National Civil Rights Museum houses exhibits about the civil rights movement, including many about Dr. King, including his famous speech during the march on Washington, D.C. And in commemoration of what this weekend is, Patricia Trish Roberts was the first African-American ever to play for the Lady Vols back in 1977. A transfer. She played 1 year here in Knoxville. How about these numbers? 29.9 points per game, 14.2 rebounds per game. That's putting up some numbers.
You know what Pat Summitt's dad told her? You don't take donkeys to the Kentucky Derby. So she went out and got Patricia Roberts so she could start winning here at Tennessee.
37 years. Pat Summitt has been the head coach here at Tennessee. Better than 1,000 wins. And right off the inbounds play, Tennessee scores again. Kamiko Williams on the inside. Vanderbilt's gone better than 5 minutes since making a field goal. And they had some chances early doors to get a lead. They had some good looks they didn't make. They could have been up 6 or 8 points in the early going.
A couple trips with multiple shot opportunities and good ones at that.
Rhodes with the air ball. Williams with a rebound. And the crowd could see when that ball was in the air that it was going to be thrown too far, that it was going to go out of bounds. Good idea, just didn't execute.
So you're playing with Kamiko Williams at the 1. You slide Megan Simmons, who's more of a natural 2. Who recorded as a combo guard, but I think because of her mindset, pretty good at the 2 spot and capable of putting up 20-plus on any given night.
Rhodes defended by Williams. 22 in black. Vanderbilt, Jency Rhodes, their best all-round player. One of their other top players, Hannah Twomey, on the bench with 2 fouls. Shot clock running down again. And Vanderbilt being forced to settle or hurry shots with the shot clock running down. And because Lister's shot never hit the rim, it's a shot clock violation. Lister's arguing that it did hit the rim, but the officials disagree. 14-5 Tennessee, and men's coach Bruce Pearl is in the building. Of course, as you know, suspended. Today was the third of the 8 SEC games he's not allowed to coach. He's not allowed in the building 2 hours before tip-off, 1 hour after tip-off. But he is more than welcome to watch the women's game here tonight. And just as Pat Summitt has shown a ton of support for Bruce Pearl has done the same for the women's program.
I'm just glad he has a shirt on tonight. The last time he came into this building for a big game, a nationally televised game on ESPN, he came in with no shirt, painted completely orange.
He's not a wallflower. I mean, he's not a shy guy. Holzer looking for position on the inside. Holzer 6'4", being guarded by Kane, who's 6'6".
A lot of standing, very little activity, and anytime there's exchanges on the perimeter, Tennessee switching those.
Rhodes forced to try to do something herself, misses the runner. And Vandy, you can see 2 for 19 from the field. Boy, nobody guarding Strickland. She was kind of feeling for the defense. Which way should I go? Turned around, there was nobody there.
Yeah, she knows she's got a bigger body on her, so she gets herself to that mid-post area. And again, she's a mismatch problem at that 4 spot because she's athletic enough with a face-up game.
Holzer from the elbow. They still can't buy one. Lister comes up with the steal. Now Vandy's got a chance in transition. But Tennessee recovers, and they force him to play in the half court. Well, they look a little confused right now, Doris, don't they?
Yeah, and they're just trying to go a little high ball screen. You can see how spaced they've got to be. And Dan, this is what they've got to do. They simply have got to make some perimeter shots because they really don't have any size inside where they can enter the ball and get scoring.
Well, they're 0 for 8 from three-point range right now and 2 for 21 from the field. And Tennessee's heating up. Williams again.
Kamiko Williams playing a little bit better basketball this season than last. A little competition from Megan Simmons will raise your level. Concerned about your PT, you will start to play.
And another empty possession for Vandy. Williams to Bjorklund. Johnson knocks it down. Running away with it now. Got Bruce Pearl on his feet here at Thompson Bowling Arena with Tennessee, which trailed early doors, now up 21-5.
Starting to get every shot opportunity they're looking for. And that 4 spot, when they come with Shekinna Strickland or Angie Bjorklund, Glory Johnson, it is a tough matchup for Melanie Balcom's team.
Now, Doris, you talked about the support and Bruce Pearl, what he did a couple of years ago. This is back in 2007, actually. No shirt, lots of orange in support of the women's program. This is when the Lady Vols took on #1 Duke back on January 22nd of that year. And then a month later, Pat Summitt repaid the favor. She became head cheerleader, singing Rocky Top for the men's matchup against Florida. And this is this afternoon in the game against Vandy. Pat Summitt sitting just to our left. She was doing as much coaching as watching down the stretch, telling them to keep their hands up on D. She was a little bit hoarse after the men's game because she was doing so much yelling at the players.
Yeah, she said this afternoon that she and Bruce are as close as brother and sister, and constantly calls, texts. They rely on one another for coaching advice. There is a tremendous amount of support between the two programs.
A tremendous amount of success. Of course, the men have had a great success in the last 5 years. 3 Sweet 16s, 1 Elite 8. And Pat Summitt's accomplishments speak for themselves. We got a foul on the floor. We've got a timeout on the floor. Vanderbilt can't buy one. Tennessee's up 16. I think you're crazy finishing that A&M game and the Ohio State game. So Ohio State remains unbeaten. Kansas won today. Syracuse won today. San Diego State won a little bit earlier tonight. Duke and Florida Gulf Coast are the only 2 unbeaten teams on the women's side. Florida Gulf Coast is up big in their game right now. Give us again, you talked about a little bit with the game day, guys, as you look at some of the top teams in women's college basketball. Are there 1, 2, or 3 that you place ahead of the pack?
Well, let's remember that no team outside of the top 10 in women's college basketball going into the NCAA tournament has ever won a national championship. So your pool is small, and this year I feel like it's really small. Maybe 6 teams, along with the University of Connecticut, who's young on the interior and must be more consistent there. Connecticut, Tennessee certainly is looking like a contender, or they have over the last 7 games. I like Baylor and I love Stanford, and those teams are the teams I believe can walk away with a national championship this year.
Stanford beat UConn. Baylor beat Tennessee. Twomey back in the game. She can't hit. And Vandy has now missed 20 consecutive shots, but they do come up with a loose ball. Old-style hook shot from Hannah Twomey. And finally, Vanderbilt scores. Boy, it's been a long time.
Yeah, they list Twomey at 6'1". She might be 5'11". with some heels on, so she's really got a tough challenge to score. She needs that George Mikan looking hook shot in order to get a shot off.
And again, Kelly Kane, number 52 with the ball right now, is 6'6", so she can get her shot off anytime she wants. This is the turnaround. Rhodes. Blocked by Kane. Vandy ball.
Well, Kane had 113 blocks last year, and it really does not have to cover much ground. She's got great length, and on the dribble drive, she just gets in terrific position, and twice on the pipes. Rhodes, that is going to be a tough thing to complete. And Tennessee showing zone right now, little 2-3.
Slowing down Vandy a little bit. Shot clock down into single digits again. And a foul on the 3.
Well, is it on the 3 or is it on Twomey?
Yeah, you're right. You're
on
right.
The screen.
Yeah, on the screen. Yeah. So it's Vandy ball on the side. Angela Puleo will inbound it. 4th team foul on Tennessee.
I got a baseball quiz for you before we leave the air tonight.
Gabby Smith feeds it inside.
That might be a travel, yeah.
ESPN, the home court of college hoops. Big Monday presented by Bud Light, a part of conference tip-off on ESPN2 Monday night. 2 of the top-ranked teams in the nation. Number 2, UConn. Number 8, North Carolina. Should be a good one. Tiffany Hayes, slight concussion today, right, for UConn?
Man, that's a big miss. I mean, make no mistake. Bria Hartley stepped up huge against Louisville. 24 points, a career high for her. Without Hayes, they're going to need to generate scoring from other positions besides Maya Moore and Bria Hartley. That'll be an interesting thing if Tiffany Hayes can't go.
Twomey really not looking even to turn and score against Kane. Gabby Smith knocks it down. So a couple of field goals in the last couple of minutes for Vandy after an extended drought. Can they get enough stops to make this interesting? Kane. And Vandy's got it back as we go under 5 minutes to go in the half. Twomey, look out. Let's see that collision coming. It'll be a block. An unpopular call here in Knoxville.
Well, the question is, on the catch, did the offensive player have enough space to come down? Mark Zenz is hearing it from Pat Summitt right now. On the catch, can she get it to her? I think it's a good call. I'm not sure she could catch and land before that defender stepped in.
You and I might be the only ones in the building who feel that way.
We're not wearing orange.
Yeah. Rhodes left alone. Vandy's got it down to 10.
She's got a terrific mid-range game, and this is where I think Tennessee, this is a little bit about toughness. The best teams to me, when you get an 8-point lead, it becomes 12, becomes 16. You put a hurt on somebody. You've got enough talent to put hurt on people.
Yorkland misses long. Offensive rebound, though, for Alicia Manning, and Megan Simmons knocks it down.
See what I mean? You know, you're sitting there with Pat Summitt, and you're thinking, okay, is that a good shot, bad shot? But I think this young kid says, okay, I don't want this run continuing by Vanderbilt. I'm going to do something about it.
Well, she plays the game with a lot of emotion and energy, too, Simmons. Just a freshman. Rhodes trying to turn the corner and draws the foul.
Well, I'm not sure how her teammates reacted initially. I know Pat Summitt said that there were a couple times on the bench where she was one dribble jump shot before she checked in the ball game before she was a starter. One dribble jump shot from 3. And everybody around the Tennessee program's looking going, wow, what's she doing? But you know what I think this team has come to recognize? We need Megan Simmons. She might be the missing piece of the puzzle for this team to contend for a national championship.
Pat Summitt says in the 37 years she's coached, Megan Simmons is the fastest player that she has ever coached.
Yeah. And she's got a lot of terrific assets. Her scoring ability, her speed, and that fearless demeanor.
Under 4 minutes to go now in the first half. Tennessee 24, Vanderbilt 12. Tennessee trying to complete the doubleheader sweep with the men's team rallying to beat Vandy earlier today. Lob inside, stolen away.
So Vandy a little bit more effective in that zone, and their scout defense has got to be terrific, and it was on that possession, fronting the post, making a nice play defensively.
Twomey called for the travel. Well, that's one Melanie Balcom can't figure from her end of the court. Timeout on the floor. Tennessee leading by 12. Welcome to the SEC on ESPN as we come to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee. This is Saturday Prime Time presented by DirecTV. The Tennessee Lady Vols against the Vanderbilt Commodores in the nightcap of the day-night men's-women's doubleheader. 12 more to lead for Tennessee over Vandy. Despite the lead, Hall of Fame coach Pat Summitt not happy with her team.
This is an all-team low for us. 4 points in the paint. No more 3 balls. Got me? Now, let's get down and do the dirty work.
Well, it might be interesting for us to track how many touches they get on the inside in the first few minutes of the second half, huh?
One, it's an emphasis. You've got to direct the basketball interiorly. But I also thought Vanderbilt did a pretty good job when they switched to that zone of coming down with their guards and collapsing on the post on every catch. Listen, Melanie Balcom's undersized in there, but they've come with doubles and tried to make them give it up.
Tennessee with a distinct size advantage, but not taking advantage of that advantage, if you will. And, boy, Tennessee kind of lucky because Vanderbilt had 9 offensive rebounds in the first half. That's way too many, but they only turned those 9 offensive rebounds into 2 points. This could be a much closer game than it is.
Well, you know, it sort of has a feel to the men's game this morning where there were a couple of plays late in the half that Vandy didn't make that allowed Tennessee to get a little momentum coming out of that locker room. And Tennessee ends up winning that basketball game. Now, it's the reverse situation here. Can Vandy now make some plays and put some pressure on Tennessee?
Again, deep into the shot clock goes Vandy. Rhodes left it a little bit short. And we've got a foul on Strickland of Tennessee. Number 3 on her.
Jency Rhodes is now just 2 for 10. And your formula for winning does not include your stars not playing like stars against the best competition.
The 2 starting guards, Rhodes and Lister, are 3 for 18 right now for Vandy. This is Lister. And she knocks it down. It's a 10-point game. Is the ball going inside, Doris?
Well, you had 2 guards take multiple shots. This one now the 12th field goal opportunity for freshman Megan Simmons. Does that earn her a spot on the bench anytime soon?
Nice pass. Lister finishes. Now, Pat Summitt said no more 3 balls, but the ball went inside and then back outside. So is that okay? It goes inside again, and Kane draws the foul.
And this shot opportunity by Megan Simmons pulling the trigger on the 3. This was the ensuing Vandy possession. They get numbers in transition and good solid teamwork.
So with the lead down to 8, Kelly Kane goes to the line. Richard Jr. out of Atlanta, averaging better than 8 points per game. Gets the roll. The 44% free throw shooter will take the roll. And now Strickland goes out. And Vicky Baugh checks into the game.
Now listen, the interior game for Tennessee has been beat up. You've got Kelly Kane at the free throw line, who has experienced lower back spasms and a right hip that's troubled her. Vicky Ball has had multiple knee surgeries. She's one of the most physically gifted players when healthy that you'll see. But she has missed a ton of time conditioning. So how that knee responds on a daily basis determines how much Vicky Ball plays.
This is Ball's first appearance in the game. She didn't play at all in the first half. Lots of pressure and a turnover.
Vicky Ball, if you go back to the 2008 National Championship game, there was a 5 or 6 minute segment of that basketball game where she was playing lights out and displaying all the potential that she had. 3 ACL tears in one knee.
Elon Brown is coming to the game, and now for Vandy, 6-foot sophomore out of Atlanta, number 30. On the one hand, it's a game where you say, boy, Pat Summitt's got to be really unhappy. They should be up 20. On the other hand, you could look at some of the missed opportunities for Vandy and say, boy, Melanie Balcom's got to be really unhappy. They could be leading this game.
Yeah, it's not, you know, at this point, your team should be taking shape, and I've been so impressed by Tennessee with what I've saw on tape. This has been as unimpressive as I've seen them.
There's the size advantage on the inside. The putback by Kelly Kane. I remember what Pat Summitt said when we ran her halftime speech. This is an all-time low for us. 4 points in the paint. So she wants to see things going a lot differently here in the second half.
And only 2 free throw attempts in the first half. With that size and athleticism advantage, you should live at the free throw line.
And there's the size again, a block shot. Here come the Lady Vols, led by Simmons, full head of steam. Crossover, runner, yes!
That's a play you've got to complete because you got the ball from 94 feet. You had numbers, a little crossover, and probably a pretty good decision in that instance, and she likes it. Nice little crossover, Dan.
She's what we like to say in the business. She's good TV. She's got a lot of expression, a lot of emotion in her game, and a lot of talent. Just a freshman.
From the San Antonio metro area. We're heading in her direction tomorrow morning.
We're down there for an NBA game tomorrow night, the Nuggets and the Spurs.
And now a little 2-2-1 half-court pressure that Tennessee has run throughout the course of this year. They'll trap off at certain spots.
Just a good pass fake to try to get herself free. Now Rhodes, shot clock at 5. Twomey has to fade away and left it short. There again, the size of Kane is a factor. Simmons inside, knocked away by Twomey. Lister on the wing, yes.
So it's guts and it's guile and it's making plays in timely fashion. Twomey on that last offensive possession before that last basket, everything, the move was perfect. She created separation, just couldn't get the shot to fall.
Lister now with 9. She's the high scorer for Vanderbilt. And the clock reset to 15 after the kickball. Tennessee 4-0 right now in the SEC. Vandy is 3-1. Pat Summitt's team is 16-2 overall, ranked 6th in the country. Vanderbilt is not ranked, but they have still had a good season. 12-5 overall. Left-handed layup, no. And the loose ball rebound down to Brown. Vanderbilt can inch a little bit closer. They're still kind of just hanging around on the fringes of this game.
Yeah, and I don't think Kelly Kane works hard enough on a consistent basis to get post position. I mean, with that body, she should be burying people in the paint.
Offensive rebound, Brown. Now, long shots lead to long rebounds, but Pat Summitt cannot be happy with the number of offensive rebounds Vandy's got.
But you've got to be disciplined. You know where the shots are coming from, so go find a body at 15 feet.
Twomey went for the old-style running hook again, and Kane was having none of it.
See, she should rim run, turn. She's showing you her numbers. Get her the basketball there. You know, some of it is on her, and some of it's on her teammates.
Another shot that might have been in Megan Simmons' best interest that she made, because 3 balls are not on the menu here in the second half of Tennessee. But she knocked it down, and Vandy's forced to call a timeout.
Well, Kelly Kane at 6'6", has given Vanderbilt everything they've wanted when she's on the defensive end of the floor. I don't think she's posted enough. No 3-ball, you better make it. You're right in front of Pat Summitt, Megan Simmons.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network, period.
Back inside Thompson Bowling Arena, they had, over 21,000 people for the men's game today. Got to be 18,000 to 19,000 here for the women's game tonight. A 17-point lead for the Lady Vols over Vanderbilt, with Glory Johnson going to the line. In 11 minutes off the bench, 6 points and 6 rebounds already for Johnson, who was a starter until about 5-6 games ago. And her numbers have actually gotten better since she started coming off the bench.
What did I say? That the pine is always the coach's best friend. Yeah. It can motivate you to do some things. And just so I put one qualifier on that list of impact freshmen. That's not an exhaustive list, folks. There's plenty of great freshmen out there beyond that list. We just looked at some of the top freshmen that will have to be impactful on national championship contenders.
Is it a fine line on this team with Megan Simmons? How many shots is the right number of shots?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And you know what? The only thing that's going to help her with that is film work with the assistant coaching and experience. It's repetition.
Nice penetration and the basket for Stephanie Holzer.
And I think you can clearly see that Tennessee has some vulnerabilities to me as a national championship contender. And I think Kelly Kane and the interior help with players like Vicky Ball, who's over being attended to on the sideline. Lacey Brewer. How well do the 4 players react? Glory Johnson and Shekinna Strickland. Are they tough enough, Dan? You know, do they have the moxie if somebody puts a double-digit run on them in the NCAA tournament? Is that toughness simply in the body of Megan Simmons, or does it permeate throughout the rest of the Lady Vols? So, you know, they've got some question marks in a couple of months to develop that kind of toughness.
Angie Bjorklund knocks down another 3. And, I mean, there are a number of teams, formidable opponents out there, but Brittany Griner and Baylor always looming. Have a little net issue. Thank you very much, Roy. And Baylor's already beaten Tennessee. Yeah. Griner obviously is just a huge impact player in the women's game. But there were a couple of Tennessee players who were saying, well, we know we're going to see them again. But they got to play better if they're going to beat Baylor.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And you know, the unique thing is you can't prep for Brittany Griner. The one body on the Tennessee team that can contend to a certain level with Brittany Griner is 6'6" Kelly Kane. You know, you can challenge shots, but you've got a game plan for Brittany on both ends. You've got Melissa Jones, who is one of those glue-type players, makes appropriate plays at the appropriate time.
Gabby Smith misses the corner jumper, and the rebound down to Kane, who is fouled. Where does Stanford fit in all this?
Oh, I think, you know, Stanford is an outstanding basketball team. They've got scoring from 5 positions. Jeanette Poland is having an outstanding year. You think about National Player of the Year candidates for me. It's really a 2-person race at this point with Brittany Griner at Baylor and Maya Moore at Connecticut. On other teams, you've got multiple candidates that may have an impact. Not a long shot, but a player who I think has played worthy for most of the season, Jeanette Poland. But, you know, Nneka Ogwumike is their leading scorer, leading rebounder, and having an outstanding year. So they'll take some votes away from one another.
The lead is up to 19 right now for Tennessee. Vandy just unable to string any number of baskets together. Just working so hard, but unable to knock down the open shots and unable to get many open looks. Here's the top 10 right now in the women's game of the ESPN USA Today poll. Baylor #1, UConn 2, Duke undefeated at #3. Tennessee, you can see, is #6. Their 2 losses this year are to Georgetown and to Baylor.
And Duke is a terrific team. Make no mistake, Jasmine Thomas is a National Player of the Year candidate, an unbelievable speed guard, capable of triple-double type numbers. They've got a lockdown defender at Karima Christmas. Joanne does a terrific job changing defenses, keeping people off balance, and Duke does not lack for toughness.
Bjorklund pulls up for 3. And it'll be Tennessee ball. ESPN, your NBA destination tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, assuming Carmelo Anthony is still a Nugget. It'll be the Nuggets taking on Manu Ginobili and the San Antonio Spurs. And then the celebration of Martin Luther King continues Monday on ESPN at 1 Eastern from Memphis as Rudy Gay and the Grizzlies host Derrick Rose and the Bulls. Doris and I are doing that game tomorrow night, and all announcers go through your charts. You have your notes and the way you compile things. I'm leaving my Denver stuff to the last second because half the team could be gone by the time we get to that game tomorrow.
That's a fluid situation.
Yeah. Johnson with a turnaround. Boy, what a soap opera that Carmelo situation has been all year. And even though everybody says, and you know they're going to say this, and you can't blame them for saying this, even though everybody says, well, we're shutting out the distractions, and it's got to be a distraction. I mean, it's there every day.
Carmelo Anthony said, any of my teammates who tell you it's not having an impact, they're lying. Its bottom line is you can't help but think about it. And, you know, I don't feel like Carmelo Anthony is being put in a great light. He doesn't want to sign the extension, and that is his right as a restricted free agent. And so where he ends up, who knows? But it's within his rights to look.
Timeout on the floor. Tennessee has extended the lead to 21, getting some great play off the bench as always from Glory Johnson, 47-26. All right, Ryan, thank you. And back here in Knoxville, the Lady Vols have gotten it out to a 21-point lead on Vanderbilt, 47-26. And they're getting the ball inside more. They're not shooting as many threes. They're following orders right now, which was in all of their best interests heading into the second half.
I don't think there's any question. You make a good point. Glory Johnson has been very good off the bench. That'll be a challenge from that 4 spot if she's able to score the basketball. And she and Strickland want to face up on the catch in that mid-post area.
Simmons lost the handle, turns it over. Fogy off balance, but it finishes for Vandy.
That's a good sign for Melanie Balcom. Fogy was carried out on a stretcher in a basketball game earlier this year. She's been a little bit tentative, and rightly so, to have contact, and that's a good play. She attacked the defender in that instance.
Missed 3 games in December after suffering a concussion. The incident Doris was talking about. 2 games later on with post-concussion syndrome. Yorkland another 3. Twomey at the other end as Vandy beats Tennessee down the floor, and Pat Summitt is livid right now. I don't know if anything upsets a coach more than not getting back in transition.
Yeah, you don't want to give your team, your opponent easy opportunities, and that's a focus thing. So you don't play to the score, Dan. You play to a standard.
Yorkland a miss this time from beyond the arc. Jency Rhodes has had a tough night. The best player for Vanderbilt. She is 2 for 12, 6 points in the game. Twomey with Jones on her. Use that left elbow to create a little space. Kicks to the corner. And the 3 for Fogy. All of a sudden, 8 points for Fogy off the bench.
Well, she had been playing great basketball prior to that concussion. They were really scared, Dan. She was in full seizure when she hit the deck, and she was concerned. Melanie said the way she hit, there was dead silence in the arena. They thought she might have broken her back.
Always scary moments. Chris Joseph for Syracuse had one today. Eventually got up, walked off the court under his own power, but did not return to the game. Megan Simmons with a 3. She's got 17. Twomey won't take the shot from the elbow. Fogy's feeling it. She's lighting it up right now for Vandy.
She's got a little player on her hands, and the more she gets out in between the lines and competes and understands that she's healthy, folks, look out. They're sitting in this zone. Anytime there's a catch in the box, they're going to come with a double. But they're not penetrating this zone. They're content to just do this. Pass on the perimeter. Those are not the shots you want. Christina Fogy, an outstanding job staying spaced. And once she went to the rim, attacked the basket, got it in the hole, does back-to-back threes. Now all of a sudden you start to feel pretty good about yourself.
Fogy with 8 of the last 10 Vandy points. Alicia Manning is coming to the game now for Tennessee. And Kamiko Williams is back in the game for the Lady Vols as well. Nice backdoor cut. It's Fogy again. but couldn't finish. Williams at the point, so Simmons playing more off the ball right now. We got a Vandy foul on Jordan Coleman.
So she's trying to use her feet to get around Glory Johnson. In that instance, you can almost let her catch it and then make her score over the top of you.
Johnson, great elevation and a soft touch on the rim.
But you take that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Make Glory Johnson score the basketball over you.
Now Tennessee comes up with a steal. They got numbers if they can run it down, but Yorkland with not quite enough speed to get to that loose ball.
Well, Glory Johnson is a tremendous athlete. In fact, the best athlete on this team. She is limited away from the rim, so all of her scoring action comes within 6 feet of the basket.
She got 14 points. Holzer couldn't finish, got it back, and this time does. Players in the same spot at the same time. Johnson will take over for Tennessee. Forgive me, Johnson with 11 points, not 14. 11 points off the bench for Tennessee tonight. Johnson drawing a lot of activity when she gets the ball to kick to Simmons, who misses the three. Rebound Williams, partially deflected, out of bounds to Vandy.
That's a significant lead if you're Tennessee, but it hasn't always been pretty. And moments of frustration for Pat Summitt, because she knows if you're loose with the basketball in the NCAA tournament game, it will cost you. So always teaching over there.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV.
Welcome back to Knoxville. Dan Schulman to Doris Burke. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. And Pat Summitt appears to be on her way to career win number 1,054. What an incredible career she's had. Look at all the banners around this place. Some of them are for the men's program, obviously, but the vast majority are for the women's program. Over 1,000 wins, as we mentioned. 37 years here at the University of Tennessee. 18 Final Fours and 8 national championships, including 2 in a row as recently as 07 and 08. It is remarkable, and as Jay Billis said, Dick Vitale said, you said, one of the great coaches, period. Any sport, men or women, one of the great coaches any of us has ever seen.
It took her an awful long time. She went to a number of Final Fours before finally breaking through and winning that first national championship. And then once that happened, folks, they just kept coming. 87, 89, 91, a three-peat in 96, 97, and 98. And then back-to-back titles with Candace Parker in 2007, 2008. But I'll tell you this, now, you've got 11 of the last 15, Dan, nice shot by Lister. 11 of the last 15 national championships have been won by either Connecticut or Tennessee.
And does that need to change for the game to grow?
Yeah, so I don't think there's any question. And I think it is changing. I think the talent level, and I mean that both the player talent and the coaching talent, is increasing every year in women's college basketball.
Simmons misses the three. Williams on the rebound. And it's out of bounds. The officials will talk it over and give the ball to the Lady Vols.
You can see no quit in Melanie Balcom's Vanderbilt team. They have continued to play hard. And again, on either side of a blowout, Dan, I think it's important for either team. You're playing for pride if you're the team down. You're playing to a standard if you're the team up.
Good hands by Fogarty. Lister is off to the races. And this one's about 1 or 2 baskets, I think, from getting Pat Summitt's blood to really start boiling.
Yeah, exactly. They're just careless turnovers.
A 10-2 run right now for Vandy. And another turnover. Fogarty. And the lead is down to 10.
I think you're going to get a timeout, and I think you need one, because this is a simple double team that they've come with from the first half on, and you're not handling it.
Pat Summitt is just as upset that she was trying to tell her players, get the ball over here so I can call a timeout. Megan Simmons evidently didn't hear her, was starting to run some offense, was throwing the ball down the court instead of just getting it over and calling the timeout.
Well, Vanderbilt is just trying to make Tennessee think. And this is a silly inbounds pass, too much air underneath it, and an easy opportunity for Lister to get a hand on it and turn it over. And this off a simple double team. If you're Glory Johnson, it's the next closest pass. Don't try to be extraordinary. Find the closest open player out of the double team.
ESPN, the home court of college hoops. On Martin Luther King Day, ESPN delivers 4 outstanding college basketball games, a part of Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, all a part of conference tip-off. Villanova and Connecticut. Villanova racing back to beat Maryland after a big deficit earlier today. Kansas State's in Columbia, always a tough place to go play. Syracuse and Pittsburgh in a top 5 matchup. And then Kansas, which survived against Nebraska today, will head down to Waco to take on the very talented Baylor Bears.
Well, Lace-Darius done an outstanding player for the Baylor Bears. I think Kansas one team. I know Jay has talked about, he doesn't know if there's any great teams in college basketball. Kansas probably the team with the highest upside and the best chance to be great. Whether they reach that potential, we'll see.
Shakina Strickland, number 40, with the ball back into the game for Tennessee. Have not seen very much of her in the second half. Shot clock at 3. Strickland. Big basket for the Vols.
Yeah, and so now, again, and they told her, just because you're playing the 4 spot doesn't mean you stop attacking offensively. You can face up and do what you do off the dribble.
Fogarty inside to Holzer, who lays it in. Fogarty has been a huge part of this run by Vanderbilt in the second half.
You know, and win or lose, if you're Melanie Balkum, you're just relieved to see Fogarty back to the level she was at before that concussion situation happened. You can win SEC games when she's playing like that.
Of the 30 points Vandy's got in the second half, Lister and Fogarty have combined for 22 of them. Kamiko Williams with a big 3 for the Lady Vols.
And then Tennessee goes into a 2-3 zone, and you've got some size out front with Bjorklund and Strickland. You got Kamiko Williams playing the bottom side of that.
Holzer with nice touch on the 13-footer. 60-49, 5 minutes to go. Vanderbilt has never won in Knoxville. 0-25 all-time, 7-56 all-time in the rivalry. For Melanie Balkum, she's coached against Pat Summitt 19 times while at Vandy. She's 1-18. Vandy down a couple of years ago in Nashville. Lister. And deflected out of bounds, still Vandy ball.
Melanie Balkum also upset Pat Summitt when she was the head coach at Xavier.
Pat Summitt's going to go to her bench again. Kelly Kane getting ready to check in at the next opportunity. The zone slowing Vandy down, taking some seconds off the clock as they try to cut into this deficit, nearing the final 4 minutes. Rhodes, and she's been in that situation a lot tonight, being forced to create at the end of the shot clock. That one falls.
And she's capable. I'm surprised they're not putting her in the high post area, because sometimes they put her there or the short corner to let her make plays.
Good hustle by Rhodes. Williams retains possession, though. Pulls up at the foul line and gets the bounce.
A couple of timely buckets by her. Wide open 3. So you'll accept that if you're Pat, and a nice play there.
And a timeout by Melanie Balkum, just not liking how stagnant the offense was looking on that trip.
Had 13 seconds on the shot clock, and you're in the ball game. You can put some pressure on if you complete a basket here. So I want to make sure she's getting the ball to the right place.
ESPN, the home court of college hoops. Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, all a part of conference tip-off. It's on ESPN 2 at 7 Eastern Monday night. 2 of the top women's teams in the country go head-to-head. It'll be UConn against North Carolina. Maya Moore, as you said, one of the top player of the year candidates in women's basketball. Should be a good one between the Huskies and the Tar Heels. These are your top two?
I don't think there's any question. Right now, I feel like it's a two-person race. These are the two most dominant players in women's college basketball. Maya Moore has a chance to do something unprecedented in women's college basketball history. There have been 3 or now 4 two-time winners of the Wade Trophy. Maya Moore is in the best position to become the first 3-time winner of the Wade Trophy.
Shot clock down into single digits. Holzer swings it to Rhodes. Again, she's going to have to force up a shot, and she hits another one.
Ball needs to find your best player under duress of the shot clock, and twice it has found Jency Rhodes.
She moves into double figures now with 10.
Little flare screen.
Yorkland misses the 3. Vandy Ball. Fogarty misses the reverse. Would have made it a 7-point game. It's never quite been a blowout. Vandy's never been quite close enough to make you feel they're really threatening. They've always been a basket or 2 away from giving you that feeling. Holzer can't run down the long rebound, and that really hurts. Fresh possession now for the Lady Vols.
Well, you could start to manage the clock a little bit if you're Tennessee. I was disappointed in Kelly Kane tonight. She's taken 4 shots. She's done a very good job on the backboards with 12 rebounds, but at that size, she should be dominating.
Tennessee really hasn't been dominating tonight, but so far they're doing enough to lead. They're up by 9. Back in Knoxville, the Lady Vols are 2 minutes and 23 seconds away from a victory, another victory. They're up 62-53. Vanderbilt's been giving their all. They've missed some open shots, but Jency Rhodes and others, they're not backing down. They're not in this for a moral victory. I mean, they're scratching and clawing, Doris, trying to prolong this game as much as they can.
When she struggled in the first half, I said they can't win if she doesn't have a terrific night. And this is their best player. I know she's their 3rd leading scorer, but she does so many things for them. She's going to have to make shots down the stretch here to have any opportunity. You wonder if they start looking at the 3 with Fogarty, who's had a productive last 5 or 6 minutes.
The rebound to Twomey. They got to score quickly, too. They've been taking a lot of time each possession. Rhodes, turnaround. Follows her own miss, but Kane the rebound for Tennessee.
We've been waiting for them to put her at the free throw line because they do that quite often. Now you're just managing clock.
And crunch time. Megan Simmons is on the bench right now. Kamika Williams is in at the point.
There's a finally she buries it in a post defender in the paint. She should have been doing that all night long. You were thinking the exact same thing I was thinking. You want a work clock? Megan Simmons is on the bench next to Pat Summitt. They're not taking any chances.
So the freshman has a seat here in the closing minutes. Williams at the point. Vandy gets it over. They break the pressure.
You can't be passing up shots. And in Jency Rhodes, you just passed up a shot.
They're all pointing at the basket. Shot a little bit long from Fogarty, and again, precious seconds ticking away. Boy, this is one Melanie Balcom's going to walk out of here and say, man, we could have had this one.
Yeah, no doubt. Some missed opportunities, especially early in that first half, when Tennessee was struggling to score.
Williams, nicely done.
Boy, I think she's been very, very solid tonight, Kamiko Williams.
Lister for 3.
Well, you got to press up and make some things happen. Maybe come with a run and jump trap. Nope, they're going to just space the floor and concede it.
Down by 8, less than a minute to go. Vanderbilt is going to fall to 0-26 all time in Knoxville.
Listen, there's been six SEC teams that have beaten Tennessee in Knoxville in women's college basketball. She's not doing anything else many other programs haven't done.
You're right. And we should point out, as we mentioned earlier, this is a Vanderbilt program that's been to the NCAA tournament 11 years in a row. They have finished the year ranked in the top 25 11 years in a row.
Yeah, 8 straight NCAAs for Melanie Balcom. She's never lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. You give Melanie Balcom time to prepare, she will beat you.
Rhodes short on the shot. Williams stumbling for the rebound off to Johnson. Another foul, and it's all but over now.
Plenty of tape to work with if you're Pat Summitt. I think one thing that has to happen if they're going to win a national championship, and a part of this will be dictated by the health of Kelly Kane. Yeah, again, I mentioned she's dealt with back spasms and a sore right hip. I think Kelly Kane has got to be better conditioned and more committed to being an option in the post, to burying people underneath the rim, because she's got the frame. Look at that, 6'6", folks, wide shoulders, wide hips, but she's breathing hard.
Lori Johnson at the line. You look at Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
She's steaming.
Yeah, no, she's not happy.
Steaming.
I don't blame her.
Yeah. This is not going to be a win she savors. This is going to be a teaching tool for her team. Shot clock turned off. Final seconds here in Knoxville. And Tennessee's going to sweep the men's-women's day-night doubleheader here at Thompson Bowling Arena. Big comeback for the men earlier today to beat Vandy after they were down 17 in the first half. And the women did not play their best, but they're still going to get out of here with a W as Vandy fouls one last time.
Well, we should note, Dan, you can see the numbers. You see the look at the Tennessee schedule. At South Carolina, at Auburn. These are all winnable games. Kentucky has been terrific of late. They've struggled out of the gates in the SEC, but I'm not sure there's a team in the SEC that's got enough to beat Tennessee. Maybe Georgia, who's had the most success here in Thompson Bowling Arena. But that number 35 is to honor Melissa Ann McCrae Dukes, who lost her battle with breast cancer on December 27th, played on 2 national championship teams.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, one of Pat's close friends.
Rhodes misses a shot as the game comes to an end. Tennessee will go to 17-2 on the season. Career win number 1,054 for Pat Summitt, as the Lady Vols hand the Commodores a 68-56 defeat here tonight at Thompson Bowling Arena. Tennessee wins both ends today. They take the men's game during the day, and they win the women's game here tonight. Next on ESPN, it is SportsCenter. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Doris Burke and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Shulman saying thanks so much for watching today.